things are heating up for Wrestlemania. Things are heating up too for Revolution. A lot of things are happening this Wednesday. There are some like little threads that needed to be, all put together for this next Sunday, which is Sting last match,
Yeah.
and it's a sold out arena in Greensboro, North Carolina.
A lot of history in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Absolutely,
A lot of history.
absolutely, and it's gonna be very exciting. It's a new it's a pay-per-view, one of my favorite pay-per-views, and man, there's a lot of stuff happening, and I know Swerve and Samoa Joe are gonna be supposedly. I don't know if Hangman Adam Page is healthy enough to wrestle this next week. And so I don't know. I was reading everything and I saw the video and I was like, is he hurt? Is he not hurt? Is he gonna make it? Is storyline? What's going on?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to know. I want to find out. I'm one of those few wrestling fans that still like to be surprised, though I don't need to know everything beforehand. All right, I'll wait and see.
And then another super good segment on AEW Dynamite was Christian Cage and Danny Garcia. Wow. Christian Cage, I love Christian Cage. I'm sorry. He's such a jerk. I know he was going to say, I'm your father and some stuff like that. And like, Danny was so fire up. And like, I was just like, yes, Christian, keep telling them, keep teaching the keep teaching the kids the right way to go. And it's cool when a heel is like that. This is one of my coolest things about a heel, when they can be like that, when they can like really dig into your personal like feelings, especially when he's talking about all these guys that don't even have a father, right? And how he like, there's a lot of people that grew up with an absent father, or somebody, their father passed away, and then they dig like that. It just gets so personal, and it makes it even better when you're watching the reaction of the other younger talent. And I enjoy that segment very much.
Well, you bringing that up, Thunder. I'm curious. Like, if it came up for a storyline in wrestling, how would you feel if your opponent got personal like that? I mean, here is Edge talking about the loss of his mom, and his mom meant so much to him. Daniel Garcia on Wednesday talking about his father. Sting talking about his father who just passed away 7 days before that promo. Like, Thunder, how would you feel if your personal experiences were brought up in a wrestling storyline?
I think with some of the personal experiences are brought up to a storyline, and it was done well, and in a way where it's kind of like borderline too personal, but not too personal. I think it just brings a lot more reality to things, because the reactions are not gonna be like a super active reaction. It's gonna be something that where you can relate and you can express in a way where people will understand what you're feeling. That's one of the most important parts in acting classes, when they give you like certain characters and the characters go through certain things, right? They always tell you to dig deep from the experiences that you had in the past, your personal experiences. For example, when the last acting class that I was, there was in the scene in where the girl was not really connecting what she was saying to what she was acting. And she was deceived by her partner, right? And I remember I raised my hand. I was like, have you ever been deceived by a partner or by a friend, or somebody has backstabbed you? And she's like, no, not really. And I was just like, you want to react the way that you're reacting that way. So when you're talking about, and that's why I said the fatherless, non-present fathers, when you react like that, when someone is acting like a father figure, but not in a positive way, it's more in a manipulative way, like Christian Cage is doing, and you're saying this kind of stuff to people that have gone through very traumatic experiences, of course, it's going to make it more like, he's out of line, he's out of pocket, but it's so good because, people will manipulate you and will use you if you let them, because of the experiences that you went through, because of not having a father, because of not having that. And if you are vulnerable, you will join in. And that's what happened to Nick Cage.
Yeah, but for you, what do you think? Like, would you be okay with that? Would you? I mean, because I don't know if I would be. Like, there's certain triggers, Thunder, that like if you bring up my mom or if you
Yes.
bring up my dad, like those are triggers. Now that's good. I mean, Bully always says here on the show that realism is what sells, right? Realism is what like is going to grab people, get them emotionally invested. What got me emotionally invested with the Sting promo on Wednesday, it was the fact that he was bringing up the death of his dad. Like he just went through the death of his father. It doesn't get more real than that, Thunder. So that's how you get emotionally invested. But it's one thing bringing up, hey, my dad just passed. That's what makes what's going to happen next week even more emotional for me. But it's another thing when the person across from you is poking fun at those real life traumas and experiences. I'm not saying it's wrong because it works. I just don't know how I would feel if I was on the other side, and that's why I'm asking you.
Well, this is the thing. If you want me to fuck you up for real, then yeah, talk about my mom and talk about my daddy.
Yeah.
Let's be straight up honest. You want to bring the best out of me? Get personal with my family. I don't let anybody talk about my family because, family, for some of us, family is sacred. But you want to talk about my family? You can talk about me. You can say whatever about me. I don't care. But there are certain people you don't talk about. And that's my dad and my mom. You don't talk about them. You just don't. And if you are, get ready to get fucking punched in the face. Period.
Yeah. And you know what, though? But I think that works, though, right? What better way to sell people on what you're doing than it being as real can be? Like, it's more than just when you first hear it coming out of Christian Cage's mouth, you're like, oh, like, I can't believe he went there. But then when you look at the person he's talking to and their facial expression, that's real. And again, it's the realism, Thunder, that made me fall in love with pro wrestling to begin with. When I first started watching wrestling, I really felt Tommy Rich hated Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer and vice versa. That's what Sergeant Slaughter and Iron Sheik, they really hated each other. Like that hatred and that animosity, and sometimes it does get personal. That's what made me fall in love. And I feel like that's working and it's clicking even now in 2024.
Yes, and you have to do it in a way and where, again, people can relate to those things. That's what I was saying with Christian Cage, is the way that he's manipulating the information and using it to have power over his opponents because they are vulnerable. That's what it makes it so much better, because that's a real life situation. That's what all the abusers do to victims, because they know they know that they can push their buttons, right? And if your trauma has to do with death, has to do with alcoholism, has to do with some of those kind of stuff, when you bring it up, of course it's going to bother you, because it takes a long time to go and process all these feelings and not allow them to like really drive you to a moment or to a place in where you can't come back. You see red and that's it. And that's how it is for some of us, when that's what it used to drive us. It was that anger. It was that sense of like selflessness, and you have to fight all the time. And I think that's one of the reasons why Daniel Garcia is so good, is when they get personal with him, he brings the best out of him in the ring. So I'm curious to see how bad is he going to beat Christian Cage, and if he's going to be able to take the championship from him.